We're back home in the studio, Daily Stripe. Feels good to be back. I feel relaxed. It didn't feel like I didn't feel like I was gone for that long, but we were gone for like a week.
Yeah, we were gone for a week, and it was very strenuous on the body and the vocal cords and the mind. But now we're having a nice, peaceful sesh here in the studio. Very quiet, very tranquil.
It is very tranquil, very quiet, very peaceful.
Post-Super Bowl.
Yep. Yeah, football is done.
It's baseball season,
for the time being.
It's baseball season.
It is, and basketball season. It's done for the time being, but before we get into the game, I'm already hearing rumblings about the draft, and I think we saw a lot of prospects. We saw Hendon Hooker was one guy we interviewed. You can check it out on YouTube. Cam Smith, he was dope. He's a body, dude. I saw C.J. Stroud walking around Radio Row, and already hearing rumblings of the draft, especially since the number 1 overall pick is now up for auction. So you'll see probably, in my mind, obviously the Colts have been the number 1 team for that number 1 spot. But realistically, based off what I've been hearing lately and seeing, I think it's going to be between the Panthers and the Titans to go up and get that pick, as Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is seemingly more likely. Garoppolo to the Bucks.
Definitely not Zach Wilson on the Jets. They're rolling someone else out there.
Yeah, they're rolling someone else out there. I think Carr visited the Saints, didn't love the Saints. I could see Carr to the Ravens, Lamar to the Falcons in the carousel, and then the Titans and the Panthers going up for that number 1 pick, and kind of maybe the Colts sitting pretty or the Colts swapping at least with the Cardinals to ensure they get one of those top 3 guys in a dealer's choice type situation. So Stroud to the Panthers, Levis to the Texans, Bryce Young to the Colts. That's my prediction.
We'll
All
see.
right. Speaking of predictions, though, you and I, Nick, were wrong with the Eagles in the under. Toss, Chiefs in the over. Congratulations, you were correct. Such an amazing game. Probably the best Super Bowl since the Eagles last played in the Super Bowl against my New England Patriots and beat them. Sad. We were a little frustrated with the way we hate when the games end on penalties.
Right.
We would have loved to see the Eagles get another shot. Jet McKinnon probably should have been pushed in, not for my touchdown anytime parlay, but for the sake of the Eagles really getting a good opportunity to go back and get the ball and go downfield and score. I really thought there's one little thing about the game that was so amazing. You know, Bieniemy, Mahomes, and Reed are such a dynamic trio. They got the run game going early, really worked the pass game. I thought one play in particular, one kind of type play they were running with Sky Moore, having him in motion, in front of Mahomes constantly. It was like they were dangling the carrot the entire game. Like you knew it was coming at a certain point. You just didn't know when. And Mahomes, EB, and Reed executing that play at literally the perfect moment just shows how smart all 3 of those guys and how synced they are all in on offense. It was such a well-timed. Like he was wide open. They hit it perfectly. So that to me, just in a nutshell, is how good the Chiefs offense.
They did the same play twice.
Yeah.
They did it on different sides of the field in the red zone. Clearly something that they identified when they were watching tape on the Eagles secondary was that they had miscommunication when guys were in pre-snap motion.
Yeah.
And they sent them back to the direction. So it was you start the motion, you hike, you send him back the same way. You saw Darius Slay really get turned around. He had no idea what happened on the Kadarius Toney touchdown. And then the same thing happened on Sky Moore. Obviously, that is what happens when you have Travis Kelce, who, Mahomes named him the GOAT tight end last night in the postgame. Whether he is or whether he isn't, he attracts so much attention for a defense. And you have to respect that. And he still had a good game. And he still had a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, he's easy money for a touchdown. Guys were just so open a lot of the times. Outside MVS, you really saw guys' numbers getting called.
I mean, they cooked the defense.
The Eagles' defense didn't show up.
They had 2 walk-in touchdowns, the Toney one and the Sky Moore one.
Well,
that's just blown coverages.
Sure, yeah. I mean, or no coverage, period, like we're saying. And then you're in a situation where it's. I mean, the defense. Look. There was the fumble touchdown.
Supposed to be the best defense in the NFL.
Definitely didn't play like that. But the Chiefs' defense is supposed to be really good as well, and they also got cooked for 35. Like, it was a very high-scoring game. The offenses showed up. Hurts with one of the best losing performances in a championship game we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
Patrick Mahomes against the Buccaneers,
he's close,
but sure.
He's close to being one of those guys who could have gotten MVP on a losing team, honestly. Like, he did everything he could.
Yeah, Hurts was better against this team than Mahomes was against the Bucs.
Yeah. I don't think the Eagles are owed any excuses.
No.
Whatsoever.
I'm not giving them an excuse. I'm just saying they played.
If anything, they had the ball 11 more minutes than the Chiefs.
Well, that was going to be the biggest thing for me is, right, like they controlled the clock the entire game. Like there was such a discrepancy of time and possession, and the Chiefs still found a way to execute with the time that they had.
Yeah.
Because the defense made no plays.
Right.
I'm not giving them any excuses. I'm just saying the offense played a great game. Like, look,
For sure.
If you're the Eagles offense and you put up 35 points, you should expect to win that game with the defense you have.
And I think an excellent case study for any GMs who are looking to find a quarterback for the future. The guy like Hurts, he's an incredible decision maker. We've known that, right? The read option, like he had 70 yards on the ground
And 3
touchdowns. But his ability, I actually felt like the pocket broke a lot. That Eagles offensive line that was also heralded, I didn't really think played that well. Of course, he wasn't sacked but twice, but the pressures were there. But his ability to move out of the pocket and throw the ball away, I actually think saved a lot of drives and sustained a lot of drives.
Goddard had a couple of really nice catches and a really nice and a really
clutch.
off the stat sheet nice game. A.J. Brown, aside from that one bomb in double coverage he tried to hit A.J. Brown with, Hurts was great down the field, hitting A.J., hitting Devonta Smith, and he had a great moving pass, if you're saying, to Zach Pascal, like whose name I didn't even think we'd hear. The run game was a little disappointing, and I think something that we were weary of, that people were like, oh, the Eagles are dominating on the offensive line, they're dominant on the defensive line. It's like, let's take a step back for a hot second and look how good the Chiefs defensive line is and how good the Chiefs offensive line is. That ain't no slouch either. It's not like a situation where it's like the Bengals, where it's a very fresh and new defensive line like last year, and their offensive line was okay. They can't really block a nosebleed. It's tissue paper.
Well, I think it's that. I also think that this past week we got to talk to legendary handicapper Brandon Lang, and he broke down this one play, the Bengals versus the Chiefs at the end of the game, where Sam Hubbard, he made a mistake, is what Brandon was saying, and because he was hungry for the sack on Mahomes, he gave himself a poor angle, and then Mahomes was able to exploit it and extend as he ran, broke the pocket, and ran for that first down, which then sealed the deal of the Chiefs winning that game. But what I want to say is, I don't think it's a discredit to Sam Hubbard. I bring up this play because I think that Patrick Mahomes' pocket maneuverability is one of the things that makes him special and potentially like a guy that is on track to contending with Montana and Tom Brady in that GOAT discussion. He's on track.
I mean, look at
Look
at the hardware in the
I don't
last
know
2
if
years.
he's on track. I think he's there.
No, I know. I'm just saying, look at the hardware in these last 6 years that he's played.
Yeah.
Right? He's got 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowls, been there 3 times.
And how many Super Bowl MVPs?
2.
Like, he's, first of all, undoubtedly the best player in football.
100%.
Might be the most valuable player in professional team sports.
He very well might be. I was about to say his salary takes up 17% of the Chiefs' total spending.
Okay.
A team has never won a Super Bowl before with a player whose quarterback was making more than 13%. So this is the most, and part of that is just that quarterback contracts are getting higher and higher.
Inflation.
Of course, that too. But that has to do with the total, it's the percentage amount of the total.
Right. I'm just saying inflation of the value of the quarterback.
But
Right,
everyone's
right.
contracts are also getting higher anyway. So, I mean, that's definitely pretty impressive that he was able to do that.
Just an interesting thing that I saw.
For sure. I also think something really – I want to look at a couple other things in this game. The Eagles fumble the ball, and Bolton, who's the team captain, scoops and scores for a touchdown. Kadarius Toney, who you brought up, being wide open on a touchdown catch. Also, that punt – he almost ran one back in the punt return.
Yeah, he did.
So you're the
Super Bowl
Eagles,
record.
Yes.
Long return.
So you're
that set up the Sky Moore touchdown, I think, right?
Yes, I believe that's the one. It set up
one of them. One of them.
Scored
Yeah.
a touchdown on that play. So basically now they have points off of it. You're the Eagles. You make a mistake and turn the ball over on offense, which the Chiefs did not do. You're the Eagles, and you make a mistake on special teams or get caught sleeping on special teams and put them in and they flip the field completely on you.
Right.
So that's 2 major mistakes that the Chiefs really didn't. They missed a field goal, but outside of that, they really didn't make any mistakes. They ran the ball. I felt more effectively than the Eagles did.
Oh, for sure. Pacheco had a great game.
Yeah, he had more yards than both of the running backs, Sanders and Gainwell, times 2.
Yep.
I think they combined for 36 yards, and Pacheco had 76.
And Boston Scott. I mean, Boston Scott got way more carries than I expected him to.
Did you see
Yeah,
him
they did
hanging out
nothing.
after when the Chiefs were celebrating, and Boston
Yeah.
Scott was like the only Eagles player left on the sideline just watching?
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he made you think he felt that was his shot.
No,
He got another one.
maybe that.
Did
Maybe
he win one with
maybe
he
just.
won one with them last time, right? He's been there for a bit.
I believe he was on that team. I think maybe just like a motivational tool for
Look,
himself.
I don't think this is the last shot for the Eagles. I think they were.
Ooh.
I think they might be the favorite next season. I mean, they're not really losing anybody to free agency. Jalen gets that great playoff experience, and he's only getting better and better. I mean, I think Sirianni's a good coach. The defense is pretty ferocious, and I'm not really impressed with the division that they're in. Really, I mean, we'll see what the Cowboys do in terms of like what they need to make happen. I mean, that's really the biggest competitor in my opinion. I mean, the Giants obviously took a step up as well, but I think the Eagles probably are the favorite.
If we're talking about next season, gut check. For the NFC, yeah. They had no sacks, 1 tackle for a loss. I just wanted to throw that out. That's what I was looking at, just to double check.
Nick Bosa, Defensive Player of the Year, well deserved. You can't make a play in the Super Bowl, you don't deserve to be the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
He wasn't even
No knock on Hassan Reddick, but
He wasn't
Reddick
even
and Graham
nominated.
didn't do anything.
The whole team, clearly you go from 70 sacks in the regular season to diddly squat, and when it matters
0
most,
sacks, yep.
it's, again, kudos to EB, Reed, for
Right.
really, and the offensive line coach for really dialing that up and
But
handling them.
But like, as good of a game as the offense had for the Eagles, Jones was in the backfield. Like, Bolton made play. Like, these guys were making plays. They
had
stepped
2
up.
sacks on Hurts. Yeah, they got
Not to mention, like, we can talk about the defensive holding, which was a penalty. Do you call it in that circumstance? You hate to see a game be determined by a call
it's
like
you
that.
call it when you call it, but like remember we were.
But it was by the rules that is a defensive hold.
like
I would like to pull in question, like, by the rules, should that fumble that got turned back into an incomplete pass, like that should be looked at? Because in my mind, how is that not a fumble and a recovery for the touchdown? I'm talking about Nick Bolton's other play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Miles Sanders. He
I think that was too bang bang.
He caught the ball. Like, he caught the ball. He secured possession in my mind. He didn't. Yeah.
I thought both calls were meh, but at that point, it's like you're trading off here. In that.
Yeah, but one is 7 points for the other team in the opposite direction.
Yeah, one's time.
I
Time
think
is just
if
as valuable.
I think if Bolton, if that Miles Sanders fumble recovery, if that call on the field, which was a touchdown, stands, I think that game's over.
Well, the game was over after the game's over in both instances in that situation.
Well, but one's happening in the third quarter, one's happening with
in the fourth quarter, they don't get
2
another,
minutes
they don't
left.
get another opportunity. That's it.
Yeah, but
That's a first down, and the game's toast.
100%.
That's a lock to be
No,
the
what I'm saying is that the Eagles, that the momentum had already swung at that point, and that the Eagles were not going to win that game if Bolton had scored that
The
touchdown.
momentum for me had already swung once they went up 28-27.
That was prior to that.
Yeah, at that point, to me, like I had live lined. I'd gone against my bet of the Eagles in the under because the under was toast by the time we got to the half, pretty much. I had gone against my bet of the Eagles, and I live lined the Chiefs. And with the minute they scored, and then they scored again. Once it was 28-27, I'm like, they're not going to give this up. They're not losing this game once they took the lead for the first time.
So what did it matter, the defensive holding call at the end?
I'm not saying. I think it was the right call.
I really believe that if the Eagles had the time, right? Let's say that wasn't thrown, they would have had like a minute 30-ish
Sure.
to go down and get in field goal range. I think they would have done it, and then that game would have gone.
They should have. The minute McKinnon caught,
They
the ball,
definitely would not have scored a touchdown.
They should have thrown.
I don't think they had enough time.
No.
They should have
But a
thrown-
field goal,
for a field goal.
a field goal
They
was in question
They
for
should
sure.
have thrown
Yeah,
McKinnon
that
into
could
the
happen.
end zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
Yeah,
he did
but
get down.
That's hard to like. It's hard to say like when you're like a defender, you're like, all right, just let him walk. Is he gonna walk in our zone, or do we have to go and get him in there? You know.
I'd try to go get him in there.
But you also know that like it's a tough call. Obviously, you know they're going to run the clock down, but they're also going to go up a touchdown, right? And at that point, like you have to go and do it too. It's not like you give yourself an opportunity, and that's why you would do it. They mentioned this on the broadcast. I thought it was really interesting, like the fourth down attempts to go for it by Sirianni and how other coaches need to take notice of that and to do it frequently.
He was effective. Did he go 100%?
He must have. Yeah,
Yeah,
there were
he
no
did.
turnover on downs. Yeah.
Very impressive.
And it
He's a
really
great
helps when
coach.
you have a running quarterback who can
For sure.
extend plays and improvise. Yeah.
I mean, not a lot of penalties, not a lot of sacks. I mean, they have 19 more total plays by the Eagles. I mean, they realistically should have won the game. It's the touchdown, the fumble touchdown, and that punt return by Tony. Like, again,
And the
another
defense
good-
not being able to stop a nosebleed.
yeah, I mean, also you have the best defense, quote unquote, in the league. All right, so you think the Eagles, your gut check without anything happening thus far,
Are
in
the favorite
offseason?
next year.
Point blank period,
Yeah.
just because it's easiest to get there.
Yep.
Okay.
And because I think like Jalen Hurts, another year.
Give me a sneaky
under his
team.
belt.
Give me like a sneaky team that like we're sitting here right now that after.
I don't think the Eagles are going to get back to the Super Bowl next year.
Okay.
Sneaky team. Give me a second
think-
to think about it. You must have a sneaky team if you're asking this
I
question.
do have one. Who do you?
I mean, I think the 49ers have a better team than them.
So you think the 49ers?
They just have to figure out the quarterback position. I also trust their coach more. I just think I love Jalen Hurts, but you guys have to step up and make plays, and their entire offense did, and their defense did not. And you have to play both sides of the ball to win a Super Bowl, or you have to have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're both. Y'all are both the NFC Niners, the Eagles.
I think the
Considering
Cowboys
that.
have an equal shot of winning the division next season.
Okay. And then AFC, you think the Chiefs? Or we need to see more of like how things turn out because it could be.
No, I think it was viable that the Bengals made the Super Bowl. I think we were looking at 5 teams that I believed could have been in this game, and I would have said they belonged here.
Yeah.
These 2 teams certainly belonged here.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you my sneaky pick for next year. And it could be because.
Is it the Lions?
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Like realistically, like they were as hot as anyone. Rodgers is gone.
They have a quarterback who's been to the Super Bowl.
Facts. The Vikings are fake news. The Bears are still going to be a little bit of time away. You have 2 picks in the top 15 that you can just bank on defense. Like we spoke to Jerry Jacobs, and I actually thought it was kind of valuable. Like, what would you do? He goes, I would take and he's a cornerback. He's like one of their starting corners or one of the guys in their rotation. It's like I would take 2 defensive guys.
Yep.
He's
Keep
like, what
building
are
on
we
that.
going to touch
Look,
the offense?
Aiden Hutchinson had the most successful rookie season you could probably have asked for out of him.
Yeah.
You know, we're always saying that you need a guy who can be like Nick Bosa, right? Who can get to the quarterback and be
You have
unstoppable.
him.
Yeah.
You have him. You know, keep adding to that. They have the offense. They've got the coach, clearly. You know, the receivers are great. I mean, I'm with you. I think that's a great call. I mean, the division's wide open.
Wide open.
I would say, like, the one thing, Sirianni went to the playoffs last year. He got a taste of it. You know, things changed. They went and changed a lot of their personnel.
Hero?
I think it's rarely seen. It's rarely seen.
I need to see how they do in the draft. But to me,
That's why I'm not saying hero. I think, like, would it be? I mean, it's an absolute success if they get to the
I think
divisional round
since
next year.
this season,
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
been there's been a team like for the last I don't know however many seasons that was a sub 500 team that made it to the Super Bowl, right?
except for the season, yeah,
So, and they weren't sub 500, right?
they weren't Lions.
They were.
Yeah, and
900.
I mean, I
I know
said
they
I
were
said
9-8,
Jared Goff.
9-8.
Jared Goff has been to a Super Bowl, but he's not Joe Burrow. Like 2 years ago, that
No.
Bengals team, like it's
No, but I think like before we close out, like why I think this is for me perfect storm. Do they have a number 1 wide receiver?
Yes.
Do they have a number 2 wide receiver?
Yes.
Jameson Williams is going to be at full health.
love him.
Do you have a good run game?
Oh yeah.
Good offensive line?
Mm-hmm.
Stable quarterback? A guy that can get you there?
Yep.
Do you have a top edge rusher potentially?
Yep.
Do you have a defense you can build off of? Not great, but build off of
Yeah.
in the offseason.
I mean, you can address that.
That's my.
That's where you're shit.
That's my. Yeah.
And they have money to spend.
Do you have a good head coach?
Yes.
I mean, we love Dan Campbell.
I would be with
I
you
think he's-
10 weeks ago maybe, but come on. What do we
They
see?
went on a huge run and also
Very impressive. I'm
got-
not. No. I'm not saying he's a
What do
bad
you-
head coach.
the-
I'm not. I'm
the
just
Green
not.
Bay game is, for me, like,
I'm just not saying, like, is he one of the top 5 to 7 coaches in the NFL?
no, not yet.
Okay.
not yet.
He needs those wins.
It's a prove it season for him too.
for sure.
Yeah.
100%. But you know, I don't think there's many coaches in the NFL that their players love more.
But the path is cleared, like you're saying.
I think there's a shot.
The path. I mean, the path. Realistically,
That'd be insane.
realistically, the path is cleared for them, and the path is cleared for the Jags too.
Them.
Just talking
Jags.
divisionally, like
Sure.
how easy it could be for one of these teams to end up a top seed in their respective
Theirs.
conference. Panthers.
I think that division is wide open.
It's like if the
That could be
Panthers go
anybody. That
get
could be
C.J.
anybody.
Stroud and he works with, they brought him McCown, they have Frank Reich. If he works there, and you have money to spend because you have a
Don't-
quarterback on a rookie salary.
But don't you feel like all those teams are kind of a few pieces away, and then like any one of those teams, to me, if they make the
Actually-
right moves, could win the division.
Sure, but I think the Panthers are they also went on a semi-decent run to end the year. They have a stable head coach. They have good pieces. They have a guy that we love at running back. They've taken their offensive tackle of the future. They have a good one wide receiver. They could probably go get another one. They're going to move up to get C.J. Stroud, I think. And then you're in a position, do they have a number one corner? Absolutely. Do they have an edge rusher that's great? Absolutely. They have Derek
Burns?
Brown? Yeah.
Yeah.
They have like a deep defense.
I mean, I like it's a new coach and a new situation.
But like,
There has to be some leeway time. Like the thing about Arthur Smith is he's been there now for the longest of any of those coaches in the NFC South that I trust. Like I don't think Dennis Allen can get this team to the playoffs
It's
and
not-
past
no,
that.
Saints
it's
are-
a new coach, but like, he's a guy who
He's a
was
veteran
head
coach.
last season. Like, it's not like you're moving on to
Yeah,
like
but
a
it is a-
brand new like.
It's a new situation though.
It's a new situation, but like Arthur Smith, it's his first head coaching job, right? Like, Dennis
Andrew
Allen
Luck?
had time off as a head coach, right? Todd Bowles first, second. That's right,
Yeah.
but had time off as well. Like,
He's not a good head coach. I promise you that. Not a good head coach.
But the NFC North, like you're saying, is wide open for this Lions team.
Yeah. I'm just saying with Frank Reich, like had Andrew Luck not retired, he'd probably still be in Indy.
no, I agree, 100%.
All right. Well, football, like technically it's the end of the season.
Well, let's
yeah.
There's no off season.
couple other things on the Super Bowl. What did you guys think of Rihanna?
I loved it. I think if you're a hater of that, you honestly
good,
need
yeah.
to check yourself before you wreck yourself, because that woman was pregnant, suspended in air, performing, what was it, like 12 songs in 15 minutes? Ridiculous.
No, it's great. I think what the Super Bowl has become is like a mashup of the best hits.
Well, I think a lot of
Right.
people didn't know that she was pregnant.
She was the reveal.
Right.
I mean, what is she supposed to do? Like,
But
hey, by the way, I'm pregnant, so just give me, cut me some slack.
no.
before
I just like going on Twitter and like looking, like the big question was like, wait, is she pregnant? Like literally
Well,
everyone was asking
At
that.
first, I was like, maybe there's just still a little baby bump there. She just had a baby.
That's what
Right,
I thought.
right. That's
But
what I
then-
thought
but
too.
then she did the belly rub, and I was like, okay, that for sure means she's pregnant. And secondly, like if you're Rihanna and you're trying to have like your window of kids, like might as well just bang it out, and you know what I mean, like in
Yeah.
one area. Like
It's
you don't
also-
want to like space it out too much, because it's like, okay, I gotta continue to take time off. I can't go on tour. I can't do this
Yeah.
and that. So like just
Irish twins.
yeah. Sure.
Rihanna twins.
No, I thought she was great, and I think like
It was-
she's got just unlimited bangers.
yeah,
ridiculous.
it
So
was-
many good songs.
I get, which is a point I'll say on it. Like last year was cool because Dre is more of a producer and he produced with all those people and worked with all those people, so we could bring them out.
And it was about like celebrating LA and
Right,
LA
right,
rap and LA artists. Like that was really cool.
The weekend was fun. It was a little weird because it's still COVID-y. I thought this to me was a situation where, who's she gonna bring out? She's like, I don't need to bring
No.
anybody out.
Every song she sang, we knew.
For sure, and she still had some in the bank.
I think where people like where it fell short for some people was that their like expectation of how hype a performance should be like relies on these other artists on these features,
Right.
or if they're featured coming out and performing together, right? Like we've been like kind of spoiled because that keeps happening time and time again. And I'm with you guys. I think it was enough for me because I thought she crushed it. I thought the choreography with the dancing was great.
Yep. The stage is cool.
Yeah, it
The
was cool.
stages,
stage
they were
was
cool.
sick,
They reminded me
yeah.
of Super Smash Bros. It was
Yeah,
great.
The one thing she could have, the only realistically, like all her songs that she had that were featurable that she could have brought out were
Drake and Jay-Z
Kanye.
And Kanye.
and Kanye, yeah.
Which like,
Well, Jay-Z was there. Drake was there. Like, it was doable.
yeah, it was doable.
Kanye, I'm not even going to, like,
Yeah.
yeah, that wasn't going to
But,
happen,
like,
obviously.
But you know what? Honestly, kudos to her for. Everyone's like, "Oh, can she do it?" I'm sure people were like, I know people in our area were like, "Ooh, is that kosher? Like, can she do that?" And it's like we all love that song, and part of probably the best part of that song
Is her. Yeah.
All of the Lights. So like, it's just as much. I know it's on, Kanye's album, and and it's like a Kanye masterpiece, quote unquote. But she is the best part of the song.
Right.
So I feel like she
She's
has
the
every
voice of the
right
song.
She has every right to go and get it.
Best commercial, Tubi, right? It's got to be Tubi.
Tubi.
That's the only
Their-
one
their-
we're
their-
talking about.
Their first commercial.
The one where
took
they
over
like
TV.
where everyone thought that.
Very disruptive.
Yeah.
Everyone apparently
I like the. I thought it was the
parents,
Ram-
grandparents around the world got
Who sit on the remote?
got rained on by
Who
their
sit on the
kids.
remote?
Exactly. Yeah.
The F-150 one with the flaccid peeing.
Oh, I know.
funny.
I honestly,
That's
like,
okay.
this was a very weak year for commercials, in
We
my
didn't pay
opinion.
attention.
Nothing really stood out to me besides the Tubi one.
And then the second Tubi follow-up commercial was Bizarro with the rabbit. Did you see that one?
No.
It was like 3 seconds.
The DoorDash one was weird. I didn't really
The
watch
DoorDash
that.
one.
What was the best food you ate at the?
What was the DoorDash one?
Was it like?
I had a really
Mad
good
Max.
flatbread truffle.
Did you like? That was what you
pizza?
liked. That was what you liked. I was curious because.
Yeah, that was my favorite thing that I ate.
Really?
Yeah.
Trader Joe's.
Yeah,
That Josh made.
I made up a bunch of So basically, really
I made
quick-
up a bunch of Trader Joe's.
I did. I went to I had 4 flatbreads. I had meatball boys. I had
Yeah, but like you heated it up.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Dumplings, macaroni bites. Trader Joe's is so dirt
They're
cheap. that I
they're
just load it up.
they're like snackables. I think is where they win.
Oh my god, they kill it. And what happened was I went. Me and our buddy Strike were joking about it. He's like, there was no way you were gonna bat 1,000. Because I basically come out with all this. I timed all of it perfectly except for one thing. Then I'm like, oh, this needs to be in the oven a little bit more.
And you burnt the crap out of
And,
it.
and it was something that I got on the way out because they were giving out samples. Like, this is delicious. And I burnt the crap out of the cheesy bread, like the jalapeno cheese. But other than that, like honestly though, like shout out, yeah. But I thought like
Our squad came through.
our
Everyone
buddy's
brought
lot brought
good
like
stuff.
In-N-Out burgers,
Yep, that
Wow.
was huge.
which was like he's like I threw $50 and just brought a bunch of In-N-Out burgers, which was kind
I think that's a smart move. Like going to the place where other people aren't normally going to go. Like they're going to go to
We got wings.
they're
too.
going to
We
go
got
to the
100
wing
wings.
spots. They're
We got
going to go
100
get
wings.
pizza. Like those are classics. But like
Yep.
getting just a bulk load of burgers is like
Lunch and
smart.
chips. Not a lot of. I mean, we had our hot food, but I think people always just bring chips and drinks and stuff. But we had a good amount of hot food.
yeah, it's super easy for people to be like, oh, like I'll commit, and it was good. People sometimes don't always commit. Like it's always like 1 or 2 people that like kind of do it.
Yeah.
But this time I was actually I love it when
We're
I go to
growing
an
up,
event
you
where
know?
people-
You re-
yeah, well, you
Well, and you really need it
like
too.
to think, yeah.
Because that game it's so long.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
long.
Our buddy Will still hasn't grown up though. I don't think.
No, he called me. He called me. I actually, because that's who I was thinking of. He called me, was like, or I called him. He's like, "What should I bring?" I'm like, "Dude, like I just got a bunch of stuff. Just Venmo me $20 because like I would normally keep bringing, but I feel like we're gonna have a lot."
But wasn't it more so the timing of when he asked?
No, he
Wasn't like 20 before?
It was.
I think it was like 20 minutes before.
It was a little bit before.
Which
but
like at that point,
Yeah.
But he was also working on a group project, so shout out to him. He's getting his MBA, so congrats.
wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out to his family.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next time tomorrow on the Daily Stripe.